Good morning, members and guests. Chris Gibson here at the coaching facility at Royal Queensland Golf Club. You'll notice my little avatar playing back here. That's actually Rory McIlroy from earlier on this year, captured in the Gears system. I don't know which part of the world that was captured, but it was captured early on in the year. So the beauty of having players like this being captured on a regular basis in 3D is that we get to find out, pick it to pieces and find out what actually happens. So I want to talk to you today in relationship to your spine and how that works in a golf swing. So in other words, traditionally we've been told to maintain our spine angle, which can conjure up different images for each person. A lot of the times we see people, I've got to maintain my spine angle, which means that they end up doing this. Because essentially if I maintain my spine angle, the distance of this golf club away from the ground would be the same. Now, I haven't seen any elite player, any good golfer actually move this way. There's slight movements, yes. There's head movements, yes, but it rarely moves as much as that. Now, the spine, with what we know from 3D, works in several different ways. We're going to talk about what we call 6DOF, or 6 degrees of freedom. So we stand here knowing that a spine actually moves from flexion this way. This is what we call flexion. It moves into extension, and it has a little bit of lateral flexion this way in the backswing for us right-handers, and it has a little bit of lateral flexion this way in the downswing for us right-handers, and it moves around quite considerably in those parameters right there. So hence the reason why we talk about maintaining a specific look to our golf swing. In other words, stability. You might hear it being talked about on TV with some of the commentators. So as I move back, my spine goes from flexion to extension in the backswing, the top of your backswing, and then back into flexion, and then back into extension as we move through. And it also has lateral flexion, so it has a little bit of this. So as I rotate back, it increases that lateral flexion or bending, side bend to the left, and then it increases that side bend or lateral flexion to the right, and that's our golf swing, as well as rotating. Okay, so in other words, that all looks like I'm quite stable and I'm maintaining my spine angle. And from this angle, same thing. But we know from 3D that that's not the case. So if you've got any questions regarding this, please let us know. It hasn't changed in however long. There's small head movements, and depending on which measuring device you use, some measure it, some don't, some calculate it, some don't. The reason why we use gears is because it is an optical system, so apart from your skin moving, and if it's on clothing and things like that, that moves a little bit, but not enough for us to concern ourselves right now. If we were researchers in a medical industry, we would be applying it straight onto the skin and allowing for the skin moving as you move around in time, but obviously we don't need to go to that extent for most people. But it is quite a significant part of the golf swing not maintaining the spine per se. So we'll talk about footwork, and we'll talk about the pressure in your feet and how it moves in relation to that spine, because this moves around in space, so it's a dirty great big weight, so therefore it moves into your trail foot, generally speaking into your trail heel, and then moving forward it moves into your lead foot quite quickly. Depends on what we do on the downswing as the first move. So all of these things are contributing factors, but for today we talk about the spine and how it moves around and that it doesn't stay in the same place. Look forward to seeing you down at the golf club very shortly. Take care and talk soon.